Chronic inflammation is silently killing more than 50% of all people on Earth right now. Not someday. Right now. It is the root cause behind heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and arthritis, and most people are feeding it 3 times a day without even knowing it. The food on your plate is either fighting that fire or pouring gasoline on it. There is no middle ground. In the next 10 minutes, you are going to discover exactly which foods switch off the inflammation response inside your body, which everyday foods most people consider healthy are actually making things dramatically worse, and the one dietary shift that researchers at Harvard Medical School say could add years to your life. And here is the thing nobody in mainstream nutrition wants to say out loud: some of the most anti-inflammatory foods on the planet are foods you have been told to avoid for decades. Stay with us, because this one genuinely changes the picture. To understand why the anti-inflammatory diet works, you first need to understand what inflammation actually is. Inflammation is not your enemy by design. It is your immune system doing exactly what it was built to do. When you cut your finger, get an infection, or twist an ankle, your body floods that area with immune cells, increases blood flow, and triggers swelling and redness. That is acute inflammation, and it is life-saving. The problem starts when that same response never switches off. That is called chronic low-grade inflammation, and it runs silently in the background for years, sometimes decades, before it surfaces as a diagnosable disease. Scientists first began connecting chronic inflammation to disease in the 1990s, when researchers noticed that patients with heart disease consistently showed elevated levels of a protein called C-reactive protein, or CRP, in their blood. CRP is a direct marker of systemic inflammation. The higher the number, the more inflamed the body. What followed was 30 years of research that has now firmly established chronic inflammation as a central driver of nearly every major chronic disease we face today. A landmark study published in Nature Medicine in 2021 tracked over 11,000 adults and found that inflammatory diets were associated with a 46% higher risk of cardiovascular death. That is not a small number. That is nearly half. So what creates this chronic inflammation? The short answer is stress, poor sleep, environmental toxins, and, most powerfully, food. The modern Western diet is essentially a delivery system for pro-inflammatory compounds. Refined sugars, industrial seed oils like corn and soybean oil, processed meats, refined carbohydrates, and artificial additives all trigger the same immune response your body uses to fight an infection. Day after day, meal after meal, your immune system stays on high alert. And a body in constant emergency mode breaks down faster. But here's what nobody talks about. It is not just about removing bad foods. The anti-inflammatory diet is fundamentally about flooding your system with specific compounds that actively instruct your immune system to stand down. These are not supplements. These are foods. Real foods. And the science behind them is extraordinary. Let us start with omega-3 fatty acids. Found in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and anchovies, omega-3s are converted by the body into compounds called resolvins and protectins. These molecules do not just reduce inflammation, they actively resolve it at the cellular level. A study in the journal Circulation found that people who ate fatty fish twice a week had CRP levels 29% lower than those who did not. The American Heart Association recommends 2 servings per week, but most Americans average less than 1. Extra virgin olive oil deserves its own paragraph. The Mediterranean diet has been studied for over 60 years, and the single most protective element within it is consistently extra virgin olive oil. It contains a compound called oleocanthal, which has been shown to inhibit the same inflammatory enzymes that ibuprofen targets. This is not a metaphor. Researchers at the Manel Chemical Senses Center found that consuming about 50 milliliters of high-quality extra virgin olive oil produces an effect equivalent to 10% of the standard adult dose of ibuprofen. Every single day. Leafy green vegetables, spinach, kale, Swiss chard, arugula, are loaded with vitamin K, which plays a direct role in regulating inflammatory pathways. They also contain carotenoids and flavonoids that suppress the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. A diet high in leafy greens has been associated with slower cognitive decline and significantly lower markers of systemic inflammation across multiple large cohort studies. Now let us talk about the spice that researchers have called one of the most studied compounds in nutritional science: turmeric. More specifically, curcumin, the active polyphenol in turmeric. Over 3,000 peer-reviewed studies have examined curcumin's effects on inflammation, cancer, brain health, and metabolic disease. A meta-analysis published in Frontiers in Pharmacology reviewed 23 clinical trials and found that curcumin supplementation significantly reduced both CRP and interleukin-6, two primary markers of inflammation. The catch? Curcumin has poor bioavailability on its own. But combining it with black pepper, which contains piperine, increases absorption by up to 2,000%. A simple curry dish does this naturally. Berries are one of the most underestimated anti-inflammatory foods on the planet. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries contain anthocyanins, a class of flavonoids that give them their deep color and pack an extraordinary antioxidant punch. A study from the University of California found that eating a cup of mixed berries daily for 8 weeks reduced oxidative stress and lowered inflammatory markers in healthy adults. Oxidative stress and inflammation are deeply connected. When one rises, the other typically follows. Berries hit both simultaneously. Walnuts stand out among nuts for their unique ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids. Most nuts and seeds contain predominantly omega-6, which in excess can actually promote inflammation. Walnuts are rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3, and a single ounce provides 2.5 grams of it. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that replacing saturated fats with walnuts in the diet lowered levels of several inflammatory biomarkers within 6 weeks. What about foods that are actively pro-inflammatory? The list is longer than most people realize. Refined white sugar and high fructose corn syrup spike insulin and trigger an immediate inflammatory response. Trans fats, still found in some packaged foods despite being partially banned, directly damage blood vessel walls and elevate LDL. Processed meats like hot dogs and deli meats contain advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, which are compounds formed during high heat processing that directly stimulate immune activation. Even some vegetable oils marketed as heart-healthy, like sunflower and safflower oil, are extremely high in omega-6 linoleic acid, and when consumed in the quantities modern diets require, they push the body's omega-6 to omega-3 ratio to a dangerously inflammatory 20-to-1 ratio. The ideal is closer to 4-to-1. But here is what nobody talks about in the inflammation conversation: the gut. Approximately 70% of your immune system lives in your gut, and the composition of your gut microbiome directly regulates whether your immune system trends inflammatory or anti-inflammatory. Foods that feed beneficial bacteria, fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, and yogurt, produce short-chain fatty acids that signal the immune system to reduce inflammation. A 2021 Stanford study found that a high-fermented food diet increased microbiome diversity and decreased 19 key inflammatory proteins over just 10 weeks. The gut is not a side note in this conversation. It is the main stage. The real-world implication of all this research is both hopeful and urgent. You do not need a prescription. You do not need a specialist. The most powerful anti-inflammatory tool available to you right now is sitting in a grocery store. Transitioning to an anti-inflammatory diet does not mean perfection. It means consistent, directional choices. Swap vegetable oil for extra virgin olive oil. Add a handful of blueberries to your morning. Eat fatty fish twice a week. Put turmeric and black pepper in your cooking. Add a serving of leafy greens daily. These are not dramatic lifestyle overhauls. They are small pivots with compounding effects over months and years. Before you go, if you learned something valuable today, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to HealthCore Daily for a brand new video every single day. We will see you in the next one.